Welcome to the Vision Board course with Charlie, where our instructor is Minister Terry Zavell Foy. If you'd like to join me on this journey, email me, charlie@pillarsandfriends.com. That's Charlie, CHARLEE, at pillarsandfriends.com. This week is week 2, Capturing the Vision, where we'll be reading from the book Dream It, Pen It, Live It, authored by Terry Savelle Foy. All courses can be received at terrycourses.com. That is TERRI courses, COURSES.com. There you'll find our video lectures, which we'll be studying or learning from at the end of the week upon completing both chapters for the week. Again, we are in session 2 or week 2, Capturing the Vision, reading chapter 3, Setting Your Top 10 Goals. Dream It, Pen It, Live It. Chapter 3, Setting Your Top 10 Goals. The 30-day challenge that can change your life. Goals are simply dreams with deadlines. Napoleon Hill. Brian Tracy says one of his favorite exercises is to imagine it is December 31st this year. And as he looks back over the year, he enthusiastically claims, "This has been the most amazing year of my life." What would have to happen in order for you to say something that bold? What would have occurred in your personal life, your finances, your family, your business for you to make such a declaration? Whatever your response is, those are your goals. An alarming 97% of American adults are trying to live their lives without clear, specific, written goals. Motivational speaker and author Jim Rohn said that learning to set goals is a habit that altered his life forever. Rohn recalls in 7 Strategies for Wealth and Happiness how his mentor, Earl Schoaf, said to him, "Let's take a look at your list of goals so that we can review and discuss them. Maybe that's the best way I can help you right now." Jim replied, "But I don't have a list with me." Mr. Schoaf said, "If you don't have a list of your goals, I can guess your bank balance within a few $100s, which he did. That got Jim's attention. Jim said, "You mean that if I had a list of my goals, my bank balance would change?" Mr. Schoaf confidently declared, "Drastically." Goals determine what drives you. Most likely, the importance of setting goals is not a particularly new concept for you. However, what's easy to do also is easy not to do. Brian Tracy, an entrepreneur, professional speaker, and expert on the subject of goal setting, was working laboring jobs for years, living paycheck to paycheck, missing meals, sleeping on the floor of a little apartment when he came across a book that said, "If you want to be successful, you have to set goals and you need to write them down." I sat down and made a list of 10 things I wanted to accomplish in the foreseeable future, said Tracy. 30 days later, my whole life had changed. Almost every goal on my list had already been achieved or partially achieved. Today, he has taught over 5 million people in 60 countries how to become lifelong goal setters. Darren was 18 years old, waiting tables, and was invited to a seminar on the subject of goal setting. Before he turned 19, he was earning a 6-figure income, then went on to become an entrepreneur and multimillionaire and never looked back. Today, Darren Hardy is the editor of Success Magazine and offers this advice in regards to setting goals. I attribute it to the number one skill that has given me more success than anything. Darren adds, I get to interview extraordinary people. The consistency I find among all these great achievers is this. Number one, they are all committed to continual learning. And number two, they all have clearly defined goals and a plan to achieve them. There probably isn't a person reading this book who hasn't heard the importance of having goals in writing. However, if you walk up to the average person and ask to see their written list of goals, they don't have one. In fact, that's exactly what Professor David Cole from Virginia Tech did. In his research, he discovered that 80% of Americans don't have any goals. 16% have goals but don't write them down. 3% have goals they write down but don't review them. Only 1%, all in fact, millionaires had goals, wrote them down, and reviewed them on a consistent basis. You cannot reach your full potential without goals. When we don't set goals, it's as if we're leaving our lives up to chance and are just waiting to see what happens. With goals, you can literally succeed on purpose. Brian Tracy tells us or calls it the 10 times factor. He boldly states, you will achieve your goals 10 times faster and with greater probability if you're absolutely crystal clear on what you want and how to get there. God wants you to have goals and intermediate objectives that you strive toward each year. It's one thing to have a big dream, but it's vital that you have smaller dreams, goals that you can focus on now. Philippians chapter 3, verses 13 through 14, KJV says, this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching for those things which are ahead. I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling in Christ Jesus. That mark refers to your goals. According to statistics, 93% of New Year's goals go unfulfilled. In fact, 30% are broken within the first week. Among those who join a gym, 80% drop out within 8 weeks. Setting goals for your life means deciding what you want in life, planning how to get it, and then going after it. I'm thrilled to say that I have learned how to make it into the 7% category of those who stick with their New Year's goals until they are achieved. I want you to get serious about achieving your life goals. Mistakes in goal setting. People get excited about goals, but they tend to set unrealistic goals in the beginning. I'm going to become a millionaire. I'm going to lose 50 pounds. I'm going to write 4 books. I'm going to drive a brand new Porsche. I'm going to save $500,000. If you set goals that are too unrealistic or may take longer than 12 to 18 months to achieve, it destroys your confidence and diminishes your hopes of achieving your dreams. Most success coaches recommend you set goals that have about a 50% chance of possibility. Set goals that stretch you, push you, and build your confidence. The most common goals people set look: get out of debt, quit smoking, eat healthier, get closer to God, spend more time with family, read more, get house organized. Although these goals are common, they are a setup for failure. They are broad, unclear, and too vague to ensure commitment to their achievement. How do you go after all these random but important goals? With a clear, simple plan. I have learned more about goal setting from Brian Tracy than anyone else. Years ago, through his teaching, he introduced me to my new best friend, aka a spiral notebook, in order for me to take on the 30-day challenge of writing out my goals. Here's the 30-day challenge I want to introduce to you. Number 1, write your top 10 goals for this year or the next 12 to 18 months. Number 2, for the next 30 days, write your 10 goals once a day. Number 3, write them in the present tense. Number 4, write them down each day without looking back to what you wrote the day before. If you can't remember all 10 original goals, that's okay. It just means that not all of them were that important to you. Stay focused on the ones that capture your imagination and motivate you to achieve. Number 5, use a notebook. In the following chapters, I will teach you adding images to your goals increases your desire to achieve them. But for now, just start writing. If you will adhere to this exercise, you can achieve more in the next 5 months than you most likely have in the past 5 years. In the previous chapter, I challenged you to think big, dream big, and imagine big. In this chapter, I want you to know that you can write as small as you want. What do I mean by this? One of the greatest ways to build your faith is to see results in smaller areas of goal achievement. You may want to have new dishes for the kitchen, so write it down. You may want to have dental work done, so write down the cost. If you want a new vacuum cleaner, research the cost and write it down. No goal is too small. The point is that it builds your confidence to continue setting higher goals. Keep in mind, we always want to be sure our goals are in line with God's will for us. Consult the Lord and seek His guidance, submitting your will to His will. I once heard Joyce Meyer say at a conference, I would rather ask God for everything and get 50% than ask for nothing and get 100%. Meyer adds, if God doesn't want you to have it, He won't give it to you anyway. Just inquire of the Lord, ask Him for what you want, and be sensitive to His leading. Goal setting smart tips. First of all, I really don't recommend setting more than 10 goals. If you set 5 goals, that's great. If you set too many goals, you are likely to lose focus and not achieve any of them. You've probably heard of the SMART or SMART goals technique. The description varies from teacher to teacher, but here's my explanation to help you set and achieve your goals. S, specific. You must bring clarity to what you want to accomplish by being as specific as possible. Wrong example. I will save more money this year. Right example. I will save $5,000 by December 31st. M, measurable. This is where you can truly measure whether or not you hit a goal. Wrong example. I will lose weight. Right example. I will weigh 120 pounds by May 1st. Current weight, 130 pounds. A, action-oriented. Use action verbs when setting goals, such as reduce, save, earn, exercise, invest, enroll, run, etc. Wrong example. I will be more consistent with exercise. Right example. I will exercise 5 days a week. R, realistic. If your goals are too big, you are setting yourself up to fail. I encourage you to set goals that stretch you and cause you to grow, but are also somewhat attainable. Wrong example. I will save $50,000 by May 31st from my salary of $70,000. Right example. I will save 10% of my current salary, which equals $7,000. T, timeline. Deadlines are motivating. Always establish a by-when date. It keeps you motivated to achieve it. The most productive day of the year is the day before vacation. Why? There's a deadline. The quickest way to clean your house is to invite company over. Why? There's a deadline. Wrong example. I will write my book. Right example. I will finish my manuscript by September 30th. Set a stretch goal. Challenge yourself to set at least one goal that you would consider your highest expectation and set your mountain moving faith to achieve it. It could include finishing your book, singing before an audience, developing your website, publishing an article, completing your degree, get your pilot's license, pay off a lingering debt, obtain your realtor's license. In order to be effective, we have to be stretched. Stretch yourself in the area you feel is vitally important to you this year. My personal goals. The first time I practiced this 30-day challenge of writing my goals down every day was in 2012. I wrote down my highest expectations for the year with no idea of how they would be achieved. My list included save $25,000 for Cassidy's car, save $5,000 for our vacation to the Bahamas, speak at the largest church in France, receive invitations to speak in 2 new cities in France, sign a new contract with my book publisher, weigh my perfect weight of 110 pounds, write a new book, Breaking Soul Ties, publish Breaking Soul Ties in French, write a new book, Imagine Big, speak at the Amway Summit as the keynote speaker. For 30 days, I wrote down this list of 10 goals. When 30 days passed, I continued to review them by reading them out loud every day. I would set the alarm on my phone to go off at 10 o'clock each morning with a reminder that read, goals. I expressed gratitude for each goal as if it were already attained. By December 31st, 2012, every single goal was achieved. Since then, I have been setting and achieving goals consistently. Where there are no goals, neither will there be significant accomplishments. There will only be existence. Anonymous. Focus is the number one key ingredient to achieving your big dreams and goals. You will get what you focus on, good or bad. You must get laser focused on what you want to achieve in the next 12 months. As we've discussed, what you think about, you bring about. For example, think about the color blue. For 10 seconds, look at everything in the room that's blue. Then close your eyes and think about those items. Ready, set, go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, how many red things did you see? Nothing. Why? You weren't focused on red. You only saw what you were prepared to focus on, blue. It is the same way with your goals. When you focus on this list of goals, you will recognize opportunities all around you to achieve these dreams. You only recognize what you focus on. It's no different than when you purchase a new car and suddenly you see your type of car all over the road where you never saw it before. Your type of car was there all along. It's just now you are focused on it, so you recognize it. This principle applies to your goals. The more you focus on them by daily reviewing them, the more you will recognize opportunities all around you to achieve them. Opportunities were there all along. You just never noticed them until now. You will always get more of what you focus on. That's why it is so important that you focus on what you do want and not what you don't want. This law of attraction is about seeing what you're looking for. If you really don't know what you're looking for, you surely won't get it. Every one of us has what's called an RAS filter, reticular activating system. This filter is used to sift through all the sensory inputs we are exposed to all day. We would probably go a little crazy if we weren't able to weed out some of the stimuli coming at us on any given day. This RAS filter is most easily explained this way. If you're in a room full of a few hundred people talking and someone says your name through a crowd of noise, you hear it. That's your RAS filter sifting through the noise to focus on something you're looking for. When you get clear about your goals, you give instruction to your RAS filter to start looking for the ideas, opportunities, resources, and relationships that line up with your personal goals. You start recognizing these things that are being attracted to you. I used the illustration earlier of how you spot your car all over the road where you never noticed it before. Well, your new car is now at the forefront of your mind, and your RAS filter has sifted through the other cars to cause you to recognize yours. The biggest key to success in any area is consistency. As you are regularly writing down your goals for 30 days, you're consciously thinking about them every single day. This key behavior of repetition is what causes your desires to elevate and your motivation to skyrocket. You will get so determined to check off this list that nothing will stop you. Years ago, Napoleon Hill was hired by Andrew Carnegie to do thorough research on the most successful people in the world. The result of this research was the classic book, Think and Grow Rich. His search involved interviewing 500 millionaires, including the most famous people of their day, such as Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, Theodore Roosevelt, John D. Rockefeller, Alexander Graham Bell, John Wanamaker, Charles Schwab, etc. From this extensive research over 20 years, he concluded that each of these superachievers had one thing in common: clearly defined written goals. Action step: take the 10/30 goals challenge. You may or may not want to look over your extensive list created in Chapter 2 to pull ideas from. If you choose to sift through this list, narrow it down to what you feel is most important at this time in your life. It can include financial goals, family goals, physical goals, career goals. They can be as big or as small as you want, as long as you feel that it has at least a 50% chance of happening. Use a notebook. Write your top 10 goals for this year or the next 12 to 18 months. For the next 30 days, write your 10 goals once a day. Write them in the present tense. Write it down each day without looking back to what you wrote yesterday. Review the SMART goals technique as you're listing them. Imagine it is December 31st and you joyfully exclaim, "This has been the most amazing year of my life." Think of what needs to happen in order for you to say that. Write down those goals. Goals are not only absolutely necessary to motivate us, they are essential to really keep us alive. Robert H. Schuller. Thank you. That concludes Chapter 3, Setting Your Top 10 Goals, from Dream It, Pen It, Live It, for Week 2, Capturing the Vision. I'll see you next time for Chapter 4.